Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our third episode of the Bronze Age. Today we are reviewing a Silver 3 Hero League game on Battlefield of Eternity. Lily is our hero focus today, so we will jump straight into that. If it's your first time with me, welcome. Hey, Kudvig, there we go. Well, welcome. So Kudvig is our hero for the day. We try to focus on kind of really basic foundation stuff, teaching good habits, decision-making, map awareness, things of that nature. There's a lot of really good content creators out there, and I don't think enough of them really hone in on basic stuff, but they're so good about more advanced, like compositional stuff that I'm really not going to delve into. We want to focus on really basic, making the right decisions, doing the right things for your team, and also handling those situations that come up more in the lower levels of Hero League, the bronze and silver, and how best to handle them, even if your team isn't doing what's ideal, without learning bad habits. And my volume is way high, so we're going to turn that down. Holy moly. All right, let me know how that volume is, because that was really high. So first things first, let's check out our teams here. So our hero, Kudvig on Lily, gentlemanly enough to join us here live in the draft. So we have a Tyrael, a Lunara, a Zagara, a Zeratul, and a Lily versus a Muradin, a Greymane, a Sylvanas, a Brightwing, and a Nazeebo. So my first impression of this is Tyrael as a solo tank can be a little bit tough, especially with somebody like Greymane. He doesn't have any great way to peel Greymane off of the back line, and with a Lunara and a Zagara, those can be pretty easy targets for Greymane. So we got to be aware that Tyrael is going to be limited in what he can peel. And one of Lily's greatest strengths is a healer. She has some limitations too, but her greatest strength is probably, in my opinion, the most underrated ultimate in the game, and that is Cups. Cups used appropriately can keep your team propped up through a team fight, and it can be difficult to interrupt because if you position yourself correctly, you're as far back as you can possibly be while giving your team the full healing. And since you need a stun to get to it, the heroes that can stun it out have a hard time getting to the back line. One of the easiest heroes with which to counter Cups with, though, is Sylvanas. Because of the Wailing Arrow, she can fire it from pretty far back without endangering herself, and it's one of the more reliable Cups interrupts. If I were Sylvanas in this particular game, I would almost be holding the Wailing Arrow for Cups, because if you time it just right, ideally, Kudvig is going to be using Cups right when his teams need it, and if you cancel it out quickly, his team is not going to have the healing that it needs. Let's talk about Lily for a second. Lily's one of my favorite heroes. The limitation she, of course, has as a healer is that her heals are non-targeted, so there can be situations where your healing is not going where it needs to be. You can help alleviate some of that with positioning. And for example, with Vikings, that can be particularly troublesome since your healing queue goes to the lowest health person within range. Vikings can really throw a wrench in who you really want your healing to go to. You can help this with your the W build. The Dragon build allows you to target some healing and good use of Cups. And in this particular game, you're going to really want to save your blinds for a diving Greymane because his attacks are really auto-attacking. Generally, when I'm a solo heal Lily, I go for the W build, and if I want to damage Lily, I go for a Blinding Winds build. But let's go ahead and get focused on our Lily. That's going to be Hero 10. There she is. Make sure we're nice and zoomed out. And let's get this show on the road. So I never watch these ahead of time. You guys are seeing this first time, just like me. I still think that volume feels a little bit high. Let me know how my voice is relative to the volume, you guys, because I can turn some things up and some things down. I'll reset my volume settings with the pre-patch version of the replay. Battlefield of Eternity 2-lane map, and anytime you have a Greymane, you will almost always lose the race. If you just race the Immortals, Greymane has the second highest auto attack output behind Butcher. So if Greymane's on their team, you're probably going to lose the race. And this is a good time to talk about Sylvanas. Anytime there's a Sylvanas on the other team, you need to be ready for the Sylvanas cheese, and that is tower rushing. Now, they got greedy and went for 2 towers. It looks like they almost got it, but usually when you're doing Sylvanas cheese, if you're the team with Sylvanas, the proper way to do this is the whole team rotates down here. Sylvanas sticks around here. Her team sticks around here. You get the bottom tower, and your tank sits somewhere up here, so as the enemy rotates down, you can dismount them and your team gets out safely. Muradin is very low here, and with the Zeratul right here, it's going to be tricky to see if Muradin survives. Let's find out. Ooh. Instead, Lunara goes down very low in life, and they weren't able to finish off the Muradin. So this isn't a bad decision to stay up here. You knew they weren't going to stay forever. You want to make sure your team gets as much soak as possible. You want to keep an eyeball on that lower lane, though, to make sure that nobody's rotating up at you. The other thing to be aware of, though, if you're your team solo support, ideally it would be somebody else up here because you can't support people who you're not around. So having someone stay up here wasn't a bad idea. Just I don't think the support was the ideal decision. Now, since your team didn't do it, obviously you can't. But with Sylvanas down here with Nazeebo, your team's already lost this bottom wall. Nothing you've done wrong, though, and it's still way early. So it looks like you went with the Timeless Creature. So if you're going Timeless Creature at 1, that means you should be doing a W build. So you should be getting the W heals at 4, and then either... There you go, that's a good pick by Zeratul. You know, something to be aware of, too, just a little thing. If you notice Zeratul coming up this way, try to back up a little bit. See if you can get that Sylvanas to come a little further forward. Bait her a little bit forward. At 7, in this case, if I were you on Lily, I would have chose... I hope you choose the bouncing. Oh, that's great timing on the Nazeebo pick. Now you guys will be at an advantage when the Immortals spawn.
There is no escape for you, but
okay, small thing. If the opposing team had a Greymane and they were already on the Immortal, they would already be winning this. Try to show up to the objectives on time with full mana. It's a very small thing because you're basically there just a few seconds late, but a tiny bit earlier would have been perfect. Oh, actually, that was... oh, they did. See, actually, exactly what I said could happen did. Are the colors backwards on this? That's weird. Yes, okay, so our team lost that Immortal, and that's because they had Greymane. Remember I said first thing out the gate, you will always lose a race with Greymane. So the other team was there. We're going to go back and show you exactly what I'm talking about here. This is very small differences in objectives that can really go a long way. So Zeratul gets the pick on our Nazeebo here, which is awesome. So you guys should have an advantage here. So why don't you? Why do you lose your Immortal so fast even before you get to the other one to attack it? Well, reason number 1 is your opponents have a Greymane. And this is reason number 2 right here, look. Let's look at our team, the red team, compared to the blue team. Blue team is at the objective as soon as it spawns with their biggest damage dealer, Bo Bandy, on Greymane, ready to burn this down. Our team, the red team, we have Tyrael back at base. We have Lunara hearthing back, and this is a big deal. This is the biggest damage dealer we have on the Immortal, hearthing back when the objectives spawn. This is something you see in lower level hero leagues, and it's something you want to account for in your game, is when the objectives spawn, that's not the time to go fill up on your health and mana. That's the time to be there ready for the objective. So this shouldn't be happening. And Kudvig is a very, very tiny bit guilty of this because he does go back and tap after the Immortals have already spawned. So ideally, when you have that countdown, that's when you start going back, you fill up your health and mana, and you're here at the objective as soon as it spawns. Zagara, quarter mana, just barely above half health. Basically, your whole team is not in a position to contest the objective. And the enemy team, high health, high mana, high health, high mana, high health, medium mana, full health, full mana, but slightly late. The other team was at the objective, on time, ready to contest, and look how quickly they burn it down with the Grey Mane. Actually, I'm just curious. We're even gonna... I hate to go back one more time, but let's see how long it takes them to burn it down. So 222. So the first attack, auto attack, goes at 225. So 225. Whoop. So it took blue team, the enemy team, 11 seconds, 12 seconds to burn down half of the Immortal. Your team is just getting here. You've put less than, what, 700 hit points worth of damage on it. Zagara, still not in any position to help. Lunara, not even halfway to the Immortal. So obviously our hero, Kudvig here, is only one person. He can only do so much. The things you can do to help prevent this is try to remind your team, get there early, ping, ping. Make sure you yourself are setting a good example and getting there early. And Zeratul is going to be borderline useless too because he has no mana. So I would be shocked if your team wins this objective. Why are we keep focusing on unlock that? Thank you. Oh, look, okay. Once again, Zeratul going back at pretty close to the worst possible time. Now, the first Immortal is pretty weak on here, so this isn't the end of the world, but it was a good learning lesson on how important 11 seconds can be. That's how long it took him to burn down half of the Immortal. 11 seconds. And this, by the way, is 100% the right decision. You only have 3. They have a full 5. You're already losing the Immortal. Zeratul just hearthed back, and Zagara is split pushing, which isn't bad. So because this Immortal's so weak, all you guys are doing is burning down the shield as much as you can before this Immortal phase ends, and this is the proper decision here, given the current situation. That's a pretty powerful Immortal to give up so early. Even on objective spawns like this, you need to be sending one person to soak the opposite lane. Soaking is so important. So your team should have one person in the other lane and everyone else defending because they have a Sylvanas. And actually, even though the normal early Immortals are weak, Sylvanas is a huge reason to make sure you get there early. Her power is significantly magnified when they win the Immortal and significantly diminished if you can keep them from winning the Immortal. So let's see how far they can push the Sylvanas. Everybody rotating up, that's very good. Except for Zag, she is hearthing back. Kudvig's doing just the right thing here. He's being safe. He sees the whole enemy team is there. It's just him and Phoenix, just the two of them. See, now this is silly for both teams. Both of these teams here are making poor decisions. One, when you have Sylvanas, her power is pushing with the objectives. The maps that she's the most powerful on are the maps that she can push with the Punisher, push with an Immortal. Sylvanas needs to be in this top lane, and one of these other characters needs to be in this bottom lane. Only Zagara or Tyrael need to be in the bottom lane. Either one is fine. Tyrael might be more ideal because Zagara provides more poke, but everybody else should be in the top lane. I hope Zeratul is going to the top lane as well. So Kudvig so far is doing everything right. Got the build going, the W build going nicely. Now I would like to see Phoenix putting this damage on, not on Muradin, either the Immortal or a squishier character. We are going to focus on Kudvig, of course, but anything we can point out to help people learn how to do this better, we're going to do. So far, so good. The three of you guys are doing as much as can possibly be expected given this situation. So nice job. Everything here looks great so far. Both the teams are making some poor decisions, but Kudvig on Lili so far has made pretty much all the correct decisions. And I see Lunara putting all too much damage on Muradin. She needs to start spacing that around a little bit. Now, generally what you're going to see in Hero League is immediately after the Immortal, everybody's going to run to the mercenary camps, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, ideally, you want those mercenary camps spawning when the objectives spawn. So if you can get your team to do that, that's ideal. It's hard to do it sometimes, and it's always better to create team cohesion in Hero League. So if all 4 of your teammates want to go with the merc camps, even if it's not the ideal way to do it, just go ahead and get it with them, because building that team unity, building trust in each other, the whole team moving in the right direction, that's really important, and it's one of the hardest things to do in Hero League with 4 or 5 other randos. So far, good soak by both sides. This is a good, excellent time to go back, fill up your health and mana. So far, you guys have done a nice job. No one's really died. A couple of people caught out. Phoenix needs to be very careful here. You guys have full vision on them, so nothing silly. And, you know, I'm actually surprised nobody's doing the merc camps right away. Usually in Hero League, that's what you see. Everybody rotates straight to the merc camps. I'm going to pause this and turn the sound down just a little bit more because it sounds loud in my own ears. Or, you know what, actually, I'm sorry. Let's do this real quick. Let's turn it down on my end, not on you guys. There we go. All right. So Lili, see, this is a much better situation for you. Instead of solo laning top, you're in a position to support your teammates. But look at all this damage that's going on Muradin. Muradin's job is to take damage. So in teamfight situations, you want to be putting yourself in a situation, not you, Kudvig, this is the universal you. Your team wants to be in positions to get damage on the back line. And Muradin, Agent Android, is doing a really nice job of distracting for Domsky here. If I'm Zeratul, this is a juicy target. This is a juicy target. Now, the one thing I will say, though, is if you are going to put a bunch of damage on a tank as a damage dealer, auto attackers, it's much more okay. Phoenix is not using any mana by auto attacking a tank. If you have a Raynor or a Vala, they don't use any mana by auto attacking a tank. So if you're an auto attacker and the only person you can safely attack is the tank, that's okay. If you're a Jaina and the only person you can safely attack is a tank, do not drop your Blizzard on them. Don't waste your large cooldowns and big mana of cost spells on the tank. That's not okay unless you're going to secure a kill or it serves some other purpose. So auto attacker is okay to wail on the tanks, but if you're a mage, don't burn your high cooldown, high damage spells on the tanks. That's not efficient use of your abilities. So as you can see, Zeratul sniffing around here. Now Muradin sees him. He knows that he's there. And I like that you're not just throwing your E, Kudvig. That's great. What you really want to do is save it. If Bobandy goes into wolf form and starts eating one of your teammates' faces, that's when you want to throw that E out. However, I do want to see your W. I mean, you've got people here taking damage, and you put the healing talent on it. Put that W out. Let somebody get the advantage of the healing and the extra damage. There you go. You read my mind. Perfect. And the ideal person to put the W on is a melee character, so they don't run away with it as soon as you put it on like Silver Lotus did. So melee assassins, bruisers, tanks, people that are going to be right in the thick of the enemy team and to focus for damage, that's the ideal target for that healing W, for the extra damage and healing on whoever you have to throw it on. Okay, so now let's take stock of this. We have 14 seconds to the Immortal. What do we want to be doing? One, we want to make sure our health and mana is full and we're reporting to the objective ready to contribute. So we like that Lunara is probably going to go back here. Tyrael doesn't have a well to tap, and ideally you want to have this clock in your own head. You can't wait for the 14-second timer, right? So you should have been kind of keeping this in your head already. So the two things we want to make sure is, one, full health and mana, if we can swing it, but don't be late. And two, If you can also happen to time it so you're getting a Merc camp right about now, that's great. These two things can't be done by waiting for the timer, though. You really need to develop a sense of timing in your head on each of the matches, and that will just come as you play the game more. You'll kind of develop these senses for when these things are coming up. Even if you don't know the exact timing, you kind of get a feel for it. And all of these things you're saying, these are all things that I know and I forget when I play too. And these are all things that you can do looking over your own replay as well. And the more you look for them, the more you look at replays, the more they become second nature. And then you can start thinking about more advanced things like perfect timing for mercenary camps, things of that nature. So let's see how our team does this way about... See, and actually, let's compare. Let's look at the enemy team. Health and mana, health and mana, health and mana, health and mana, health and mana. They're ready to go again. Part of this is Brightwing. They don't need to go back to fill up. You guys are doing just poke, just poke, just poke, just poke, and Brightwing is trickle heal, trickle heal, trickle heal, and keeping his team largely topped off. Lily cannot do that until she gets cups, and even then she can only do it for the duration of cups. So this is a Brightwing thing a little bit here, keeping his team topped off and ready to go, and also them not blowing all of their mana at the same time. So your team is looks like gonna be a little bit late again, and probably low health and mana. Nice job by Zeratul putting some damage on to Greymane there. Okay, so let's see. Who gets where first? Zeratul's here, ready to go. Tyrael coming. So your team is getting here faster this time. And the damage that Zeratul put on Greymane, this is actually a pretty big deal, forcing Greymane to tap the well. This is their biggest damage dealer on the Immortal, and you're forcing him to be late. That was a really nice play by Zeratul. Phoenix is on her way up, and hopefully she will get the fast. You guys need Phoenix specifically to be there ready on time. She is your biggest damage dealer on the Immortals. So nice job of Zeratul, keeping vision, keeping tabs of everybody. See, and Tyrael, I mean, him attacking the Immortal, that's great. That's not his job. He's not going to put damage on it. He needs to be over here helping Phoenix. And Phoenix is attacking Muradin now instead of attacking the Immortal. Zeratul putting a hurtin on Nazeebo, but isn't going to be a tough spot to get out. And it was Nazeebo. I mean, look at how much they're winning already without Greymane even getting there yet. So this is a team cohesion thing, I think, here a little bit. And Zagara still not reporting for duty at the objective. Nice job by Zeratul. So Zeratul did take Nazeebo out of the fight, who was putting the damage on there, but he also took himself out of the fight. And Phoenix, by herself, can't do anything. She's going to go up there and die, so she needs to leave. And Tyrael is attacking the Immortal, is not going to do anything either. Good blind on Greymane. Way to put the pressure on Greymane. Nicely done. Yeah, this is definitely a team. See, now look at how long it took Zagara to get up here. You've already lost halftime again. And it's not your fault, Cudvig. I hope you're coming over to help Winhauer. It's your team. The blue team is much more on the same page with regards to getting to the objective quickly than your team is. Furthermore, their team is more equipped to burn it down quickly than your team is. So they're getting there faster, and they're capable of burning it down faster than your team is, which is leading to these snowbally objectives where you guys just really aren't in it yet. Having said all that, you're right in this game. You're one structure down, and you're dead even in level. So even though it doesn't feel great now, it's still fine. You guys are doing fine. Nice job of sticking with Tyrael, making sure he stays up. Really well played there. So, second phase of the Immortal. Let's just take stock of this. So Nazeebo's just coming back in the picture. Other than you, the rest of your teammates are all pretty low, and for the most part, especially with Brightwing here, your team is going to be in a better position once again to burn down this Immortal. Nice job of Zeratul putting pressure on Greymane, and Zeratul really helped you guys out there. Nice blind, adding extra damage there. Zeratul is going to get Brightwing here too. So Zeratul really, really set you guys up there because you were not in a particularly good position. That was a really nice play by Zeratul to put Greymane down very low, and Kudvig did a nice job of following up with the blinds and the extra damage. Now, what I would like to see is maybe Tyrael hanging around at your Immortal and everybody else going and burning down theirs. That's what needs to happen here. See, this is a perfect example of when not to chase. Right there. That is such a huge blow. Your biggest damage dealer on the Immortal gets killed doing something silly. Kudvig, you're doing exactly what you should be doing, getting on that Immortal right away. Unfortunately, your damage dealers, Zagara is going back. Lunara died being silly, trying to kill Nazeebo and failing. And this is going to put you guys, that really nice play that you guys had to kind of get yourself back in this Immortal phase. You just lost all that momentum. Now, I like what Zeratul's doing. He's keeping a nice job out of here. Whoa, it's very low, though. But you guys are going to lose this Immortal phase once again. And put the W on him right here. Throw your W on him before you go. Throw your W on him before you go. I don't know if you actually had the mana to do it, but if you did, that would have been the right move. Yeah, that Lunara pick, and your team, Kudvig, unfortunately, is really just not on the same page. It seems to lack leadership, so this might be a game where where nobody seems to be really saying anything. Maybe try to assume a leadership role, try to get them on the same page. And whenever you do that, it's important that you don't single anybody out. So you want to use stuff like everybody to the Immortal. As soon as it spawns, let's be there ready to go. If we're all together, we can do it. You know, very positive, fully team-inclusive things. So I think your team needs a leader this game. So far, so good. You're doing, other than some very little minor things, you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. Your team is not doing you a lot of favors here. And once again, Lunara in a terrible position. There you go. Back out of there. And you guys are very fortunate that this Sylvanas doesn't seem to understand why Sylvanas is so good. If you're playing Sylvanas on a map with an objective that pushes, or you're going to push with the boss, you push with it. You disable the defensive structures. When this Immortal gets down here, it's going to be taking shots from the fort, where your allies are going to be taking shots from the fort. It's Sylvanas' job to disable the fort. That takes away the defender's advantage, not cleaning up some random wave in the top lane. If you want somebody to split soak up here to help you get to level 10, that's fine, but it should not be Sylvanas. Sylvanas should be pushing with the Immortal. Once again, Phoenix is going to get exploded here. Greymane's going to eat her. Nice. That's a good attempted peel from Zeratul, but he may die now because of it. Nice job with the blinds. Kind of a little blinding peel there. So anytime you're going to be in a team fight, we need to evaluate. Without Sylvanas, it's going to be a 4-on-4. However, they just got 10s. And lucky for you, Sylvanas took mind control. If you're a Sylvanas and there's a Lily on the other team, please take Wailing Arrow. It's generally the better talent anyway. So that should give you free license to use Cups whenever you need it. And as long as you keep your distance from Muradin and keep your distance from Brightwing, they have no way to interrupt it. And Cups can be absolutely game-changing right in the middle of the fight. And when you use it, though, timing is important. You don't want to use it right at the end, right when your team is getting ready to die, because then they're going to think about retreating. You want to send a message to your team with that Cups. When the team fight's going on and both teams are just wailing on each other and everybody's at about half life, that's when you pop it. You're telling your team, we're here to stick around. We're going to hard engage this. Don't use it to save their life. I mean, obviously you can use it to save their life. But the ideal situation is in the middle of a team fight when it's sending a message to your team that we're going to stay up, we're going to be healthy, and this Cups is going to allow us to win this team fight, especially with a Brightwing on the other team. She cannot do the same thing, and with very little ability on the other team to interrupt it. That's your ace in the hole. This game is going to be Cups. But for now, you guys don't have 10. This fort is dead. Everybody should be pulling back. Yep. Good. Whoever's pinging retreat is exactly what you should be doing. There's no reason to be in here. Nice job. Avoid the ring. Well done. Okay, you guys, even though it feels like you're down big, you still have both your keeps up. And this, okay. So, on your team, you guys have a Lunara who's really hurt you a couple times. And this is what people, when they talk about MMR hell, this is what they talk about, right? So, I don't want to pick on poor Lunara here, but she's kind of got caught out a couple times, died at some very inopportune times, engaged in some very awkward positions, and she's died a lot because of it. Let's see, how long? So 3 of her team's 4 deaths, right? On the flip side, though, for everything that Lunara is doing to hurt her team, Sylvanas has been hurting her team just as much on the other side. So remember, when you're in these situations where you feel like your team is holding them back, it's just as likely that the enemy team has somebody holding them back too. This is a team that had 2 objectives spawned so far with the Immortals and Sylvanas, and they only have 1 keep. And they did that without Sylvanas there. If she was there to disable those defensive structures, this could be a much different game. So when you get worried about that MMR hell and your teammates, remember, for every Lunara, there's a Sylvanas on the other team. This is what I was talking about too. When you're going to do camps, know which heroes can do them. Tyrael, it is going to take forever for him to solo this camp, and he's going to be completely useless when he's done. So if you're one of those heroes that can't solo a camp, and you want to do a camp, and your teammate's not coming to help you, just don't do the camp. So let's see what your team's doing. Okay, he's starting it at 9:04, basically. Okay, now Lunara's coming to help. Not a bad decision. Not an ideal decision, but not a bad one. Come over here, put your W out on your teammate there. But you can see, if Lunara wasn't here, Tyrael not only would have taken forever to do it, actually couldn't have done it. He would have either died or had to have left. See? Even with Lunara there, he's completely useless afterwards. So Zeratul is doing a pretty nice job of keeping tabs on the enemy team for you guys. We're going to switch back to Li view. I switched it back because it's easier to tell which immortal is which. But Zeratul's done a pretty nice job of keeping tabs on the enemy team. Just be aware that when you're a stealthy and you're trying to do that stuff, you are not invisible, you are stealthed. And Muradin has already shown in this game that he can see Zeratul. So no, this is not who we want. Where is our Lily? Well, for some reason, it will only focus on Lunara. That's bizarre. Oh well. So we'll go back to the neutral view. You can see Zeratul. There you go. That's not a bad pick on Sylvanas. Nice job. Zeratul is really doing an excellent job for you guys. That's a great solo pick. And who was it on once again? Sylvanas. For every Lunara, there's a Sylvanas. And you know, because of Zeratul, you know that the enemy team is top. So pushing this bottom lane a little bit is a good idea. Oh, man. Come on, you guys. Get in there. So now we have a little brouhaha going top. If we're pretending we're Tyrael, why are you going forward? You're not. You are going to accomplish literally nothing by yourself. This is why map awareness is so important. And props so far to Kudvig. You've been really solid as a healer. You're a little bit limited a lot of times. So what's going to make or break this game for you is those cups. They're so good. If you good cups usage this game, it can win you the game. There you go. Now you join your team. You know you've got 1-on-1 bottom. That gives you 4-on-4 top. Good blind on the Greymane. Nicely done. And way not to just blow your cups. Try to save it for those really big, really critical team fights. Now, check it out though. This is the best situation that your team has been in for any of the objectives. High health, mostly high mana. The other team is in the same boat as well though. Sylv is going to be a little bit late, and Zagara is going to be way late, and it looks like Zagara isn't even coming up here. Now, she may be coming to clear this bottom lane of the Mercs, I would prefer her just to come up, but you need to be aware that she might do that and disengage 5-on-4. This is a map awareness thing. If you guys take a fight here, you know you're taking it at a disadvantage and you want to back up. Don't take it. The only time you want to take a disadvantageous fight is if you will lose the game otherwise, right? If you're going to take a fight, you either need to be on even footing or an advantage. Don't take a disadvantageous fight unless you would lose the game otherwise. There you go. Everyone jump on the Immortal. Nice job. Lunara putting her Wisp where it should be. Excellent job. So now, you know there's going to be a fight. Your eyes should instantly dash to this mini-map. What kind of a fight is this? This is a 4-on-4. Sylva's down here. Well, let's see. Can you guys see Sylv? No, you cannot. Okay, so bearing this in mind, you have to assume it's a 5-on-5 that Sylva's coming. So you need to withdraw a little bit. Also, if you can, you want to try to avoid fighting under the other team's Immortal. It puts you at a big disadvantage, especially if you're either get caught in one of these stun rings or if your enemy forces you to get caught in one of those stun rings. So when the enemy invades and you're attacking the Immortal, you need to simply back up. That's not to say you can't fight them. You can certainly fight them, but you want to fight them not under their Immortal. You want to fight them on neutral ground. So far, so good. Nice fighting disengagement. Now, Lunara gets split from the team a little bit. That's an issue. And you and poor Tyrael are off on your own because Zeratul tool doesn't count right now. Keep running. You're Lili. You're very squirrely. Nice. Good damage on the Nazeebo. Lunara actually putting some good damage on here. And there's the waste of a... This is your Cups moment. This is your Cups moment right here. Your whole team is at half health. You've got a lot of damage going out. You don't want to be near Muradin, so you want to Cups and move this way. Cups and move away from Muradin. Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. Now, what went wrong? Because that Cups was spot on, was absolutely spot on. So let's find out what went wrong. Okay, here we go. So right here you come in, you put some really nice damage on Nazeebo. First of all, even though this is going to be a good time for Cups, ideally if you want to, whenever you look at these team fights, this is a 5-on-4 because your Zagara is not with you. Now granted, you guys have 3 of these heroes at very low life and a Zeratul. If he gets to pick one of these, then it becomes a 4-on-4. But as of now, it's a 5-on-4. Okay, so you have Nazeebo pop the spirit, whatever it's called, in desperation, and Tyrael judgments him to end it. Nice play by Tyrael, and he's going to pick up Nazeebo in the process. Okay, so Nazeebo went down. Sylvanas went down. Now you guys are 4-on-3, and you still have Cups available. For some reason, my observer is not letting me know if... See, every time I click, it's giving me Lunara no matter what, even on the other team. Okay, so maybe the one small thing is if you hit your blinds right now, it's going to hit Greymane. That's where all their damage is. And the 3 heroes they have left, everybody should be hitting Greymane. He is their only source of damage. Everybody should be hitting Greymane. So ideally, you blind and then Cups. If blinds is on cooldown, then you just Cups. Perfect. So what goes wrong? So right now you're in a good spot. Lunara putting good damage on Greymane. Greymane I think is going to clean up Zeratul. And Tyrael here is wailing on Brightwing. I would have preferred Tyrael to maybe Eldruin's Might over here if he could. Throw his little sword and teleport. Greymane is putting so much damage on Zeratul. So Greymane kills Zeratul. And with you throwing Cups, Lunara is your only source of damage. She's trying to finish off. Now she's going to get him with the poison. But this goes back to earlier what I said about not fighting under the enemy Immortal. And it's when you get caught in one of these rings. Right there. Not a bad blind. You're trying to finish off the Brightwing. You've got the bloodlust in your eyes because Greymane and Brightwing are so low. But that ring is going to kill you. right? And Brightwing and Greymane barely get away. The stealth is what saves Greymane, the blink heal is what saves Brightwing, and both you and Tyrael get caught in these stuns. I think what would have made a difference if Tyrael came over here instead of wailing on the Brightwing, you guys probably could have gotten Greymane, and he could have put a shield on Zeratul and maybe saved Zeratul too. And what ends up finishing you guys off is the rings from the Immortal, and that's why it's so important to try not to fight under the Immortal at all costs. In the chaos of a battle like that, where so much is going on, it gets really easy to lose yourself in those rings. Having said all that, you come out at 2-2. That was a 2-for-2 trade, and you guys are actually up in level a tiny, tiny little bit. The other advantage you have is your damage dealer Lunara is still alive. Granted, she's over here chasing into a fort. So Lunara better get Brightwing because she's going to die. See, that is just killer. Once Brightwing and Greymane were right here, they were going to get away. 100% going to get away. Lunara should have just turned around, came right back down here, and started helping on either Muradin or the Immortal. Now, instead of a 2-on-2, with your highest damage character wailing on the Immortal, it was a 3-on-2. You guys are on the back foot. Their whole team's going to be up in 10 seconds. Your whole team won't. Furthermore, Zagara still not contributing to this team fight. And not only is she not contributing, she's not even split pushing very well. If she's split pushing, why isn't this fort dead? Well, what is she putting pressure on? So, Kudvig, this game is definitely not anything you're doing wrong in particular. Some really minor things that I'm seeing so far, but Zagara has not been present for the objectives. Lunara has made some very poor decisions. Granted, Zeratul has played very well for you, and their Sylvanas has made some kind of not great decisions either, but this is still a winnable game. This is 100% a winnable game, but that window is closing because you guys are going to lose this Immortal again. See, what is Zagara doing? She's literally just standing there. I guess she was trying to ambush Muradin? I have no idea. Okay, and now you have to leave. Tyrael's got the right idea. You guys are 5-on-2. Just get out. This is a very poor decision. Zagara needs to be out of here, and she should have been out of here a long time ago. Now, a nice maw. That was a nice maw in that it got a lot of people, but it was a defensive maw. Ideally, in a perfect world, you want to use your maws to set up your teammates to kill the enemy. In this case, she used it to help her get away. If she wasn't there in the first place, she would need to use it to get away. Secondly, even though she got 2 enemies in the maw, where's the follow-up damage? It's not going to do anything. So in that way, was not a good maw at all. Worked out well with the Immortal, and maybe Zeratul can get a pick on one of these. That would be really, really huge. Really, really huge. And by the way, Shrink Ray, good pick. It should be used exclusively on Greymane in this game. Every time he goes in there, goes in wolf form, you Shrink Ray him and blind him. Nice job by Greymane. Greymane is really doing well by you guys. See, and once again... This Zagara is killing you guys, man. She's never with you. However, because all that stuff took so long, you're going to have cups ready for halftime once again. Nice job by Lunara, putting good damage on. You're probably going to get Brightwing. Oh, Nazeebo putting a good isolation cups on you and a lot of damage. You guys are really all over the place, but look, Zeratul once again doing work. This Zeratul, you've played really nice, Kudvig. You're enabling your teammates as much as you can, and this is why I always say in the lower divisions, if you can, play a hard carry assassin, because no matter how well you do as Lili, you're not going to be able to do what Zeratul here is doing. He is keeping you guys in this game right now. Yes, he died, but he took 2 people with him. If you can take 2 people with you for every death, you're doing good things. That was a little bit odd from Tyrael. And speaking of ultis, by the way, there's a Greymane on the enemy team, and you're going to be fighting in small areas around the Immortals. Sanctification, 100% Sanctification should have been the pick here. I mean, he got a good use out of it earlier when he interrupted the Ravaging Spirit, but Sanctification should have been the pick. And then also, if you pick Judgment, and you know the enemy team has something for you to interrupt, save your Judgment to interrupt it for this very reason. And you're doing, by the way, a great job, Cudvig, of almost saving Winover from himself. It's really nice to see Zagara is finally here helping out. Nice use of the cups. Okay, this is a perfect illustration of what I was talking about earlier. That's not the ideal way to use cups. However, if you can use an ultimate, and the ultimate will either A, ensure a kill, or B, keep somebody alive, definitely use it. This is a great use of cups to save Winover from himself. It's unfortunate that he forced you to pop it. Make sure you don't get caught in this ring here, though. That would be terrible. Get out. There you go. Nice job. Nice job. Nice blind. Use that Shrink Ray on Greymane. Nice damage. Good focus on the low target. Shrink Ray that Grain Rain. Shrink Ray in. That's unfortunate. Greymane has such good burst. You know, for as little as your team has really been on the same page, because you guys are all kind of scattered and all over the place, and you're doing the best you can to really stay with them as much as possible, which is difficult when they're all over the place. You guys are still right in this, to be frank, kind of surprisingly. So, I mean, keep doing what you're doing. That death is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Ideally, you don't want to be that close to Greymane if you can avoid it. And maybe I missed it, but that Shrink Ray should have Greymane's name written all over it. When Greymane is in wolf form, engaging the teammates, he's Shrink Ray. And there's Zeratul making plays again. Oh, he's gonna get Sylve. There you go. And that's if Zeratul can get out of here. Zeratul is doing work for you guys, 100%. And there, look, there's Lunara chasing again because she thought she could get Brightwing. If Lunara would have just turned around and come back, don't get tunnel vision, guys. This is a perfect example of when not to chase. There you go, Lunara. Go around. No, stop. Just go back and attack the Immortal. Imagine all the damage Lunara could be doing on the Immortal, and you guys are going to win this Immortal. There were 2 reasons your team won this Immortal. 1, Silver on Zeratul is doing a really nice job of putting a lot of pressure on them and cleaning up the squishy heroes. The first heroes to go down, the squishy ones. That's what Zeratul should be doing. And the number 2 reason is you had 2 very, very well-timed cups. One of them in the top lane that would have had a nice even fight had Lunara not chased there, and the other saved your teammates from themselves, kept Tyrael and Zagara alive, and they're both still alive. Even though you ultimately died because Greymane got a hold of you, your cups kept 2 of your teammates alive from themselves. If you didn't do that and those 2 died, you guys lose this Immortal, no doubt. So well played, sir. So what I hope to see is all 5 of you guys need to be going down here and pushing. There we go. Everybody, all hands on deck. And I like this. This is good. Don't get too crazy. You're still waiting for Tyrael to get up here. That's your tank. He needs to be the guy that's in front. It would be really great if he had Sanctification. But don't get too crazy. Let your tank get up there. And once again, you have cups. So use that cups to send a message and encourage your team. You've done a really nice job with it so far. Let's see. Here's Judgment. Now, I think the Maw got it. But if I'm Tyrael and I took Judgment, as soon as I see that Ravenous Spirit, I stun it instantaneously. I think the Maw's going to get it anyway. And it did. So nice job on the Maul for falling from Silver Lotus. And look at Zeratul on this back line, taking care of Sylv. This was actually a really nice team engage. The Maul isolated 3 people, and on the back line, this Zeratul has recognized the weak link in blue team, and that's Sylvanas, and he has been punishing her. Absolutely punishing her. We've seen him pick her off a number of times. Keep it up, man. This could be the push that turns this game over. Nice focus fire. You guys might get murdered, and he's pretty tough to bring down. No, don't retreat. Don't retreat. I hope that's their retreat pings, not yours. You guys need to push this hard. Zagara players, put down your creep. There should be creep here. Now, when this Immortal goes down, do not retreat. Do not retreat. They're down 2 people. It's 5 on 3. You have the creep with you to take the keep. Destroying that first keep is such an advantage. Plus, you guys are at 16 to 15. That's a talent to your advantage, too. Keep going, and you still have cups. This is when you want to encourage your team. No, get in here. Now, if they all 4 leave, obviously you can't stay. But this retreat ping, no. Look at you guys, full health. Other than Zagara, enough mana. Plus your cups is still up. That's just such a huge deal. They only have 3 people. Attack this keep. No, don't retreat. Attack, attack. No! Oh no! What a lost opportunity. You guys may or may not have captured that keep, but if you did it correctly, you were definitely going to put damage on that keep, and they would have been very hard-pressed to defend with the 3 of them on 5, especially once you popped cups. However, the aggressive Merc Camp is a nice consolation prize. Nice job. And this is a good cups too. Once again, not too late. So many Lilies pop it late. You're doing a great job of using it as an encourage, keeping everybody topped off, knowing when you pop it early like this, you're getting full mileage out of it, and you're letting your team know you're not gonna die. So stay in here and fight. Nice job. So let's evaluate now. 5 on 4, no cups, and a couple of you are low on mana. Maybe push with these. Oh no, Zagara's not here. Once again, Zagara is not here. So I think it's time to pull back now. That's not a bad decision, Cudvig. You're kind of low on mana. Lili, if you don't take Conjurer's Pursuit, which I don't like her to do. By the way, your build is a perfect Serpent build. Perfect Serpent build. Nice job. If you're not going to be there to... if you don't take Conjurer's Pursuit, Lili is a little bit of a mana hog. So you really got to time when you go back. And now is a good chance to go back here. Once again, Zeratul doing a nice job. Actually, you can look like he's stalking Sylv. He knows if he gets her by himself, he's going to kill her. This is a really nice... and they probably know he's there, so... Really nice job by Zeratul of stalking Sylvanas, make her constantly look over her shoulder. There you guys go. Nice job. This, by the way, this is the perfect Merc Camp timing. You guys got the bottom right as the objectives are spawning. You're going to get the top right as the objectives are spawning. And even if they get this top one, the 2 top mercenaries are going to cancel each other out, and you're going to have the advantage on the bottom lane. And what that does during the Immortals is if it turns into a long, protracted battle, that's okay. You can just back up and let the mercenaries do their work. Eventually, they have to make a difficult choice of clearing the mercs and giving you an advantage on the Immortal, or ignoring the mercs to stay on even footing with you. So, perfect timing on the Immortals. And I always tell my teams when we're on comms, if we have the push advantage, just back up a little. It's okay if this takes a little while. If we're not at an advantage, just back up and wait. Wait till we have the advantage. And what those mercs allow you to do is you know that given time, you will have the advantage. Nice job, good focus. And it's going to be hard for you to win this without Zeratul here, but now that he's here... remember, this is what I was saying earlier. With Greymane, they have an advantage over you guys in racing the Immortal. And she... didn't take it. If you're on Sylvanas on this map, you take the vulnerable. If Sylv had her vulnerable at level 16 here on her W, you guys would never be able to win a race. Never, never. But she didn't, and Sylv is not doing her team any favors on the other side. So now you guys should be looking at this Immortal. You guys started at about the same time, and you know you're not winning, so you have to defend. And it looks like that's the way your team is going to go. That's the right decision to make. Especially look at these bottom mercs. Tops are canceling each other out, but look at the bottom ones. They're going to keep going to that key. Try to save your blind for Greymane there. We don't care about Muradin as much. Try to save those blinds for Greymane. And an absolutely wasted mob. But Nazeebo is getting melted, and you guys are forcing him to fight under your Immortal. That's what you want. Wow, that was an absolute mess. I like it. You're right where you should be with as much of your team as you can. You guys should be able to win the game off of this. So far, 3 of them down. You're probably going to get a 4th with Greymane here. Nice blind. That's when you want a blind. Perfect. Well done. Now you guys need to burn this down. Everybody burn it down. By the way, another good time to use cups would be right now if your team was with you, right? Nobody's here, just top everybody off. Get everybody at full health right here. There's no chance of it getting interrupted, and your team will be at full health ready to go. And by using it earlier, that means it's going to come off cooldown earlier. Now, not just the 2 of you, but if all 3 of you guys were up here on this Immortal, that would be a good time for cups. Top everybody off. See? And this is exactly why. Because if he was up here attacking and you topped everybody off, he would know he doesn't have to hearth back. This is a terrible time for him to hearth back. Good job. Yeah, you're encouraging him to stay. Exactly, Cudvig. That's perfect. I think you were even trying to send him the message, don't leave, I will heal you. But he didn't get it. Still, though, no harm done. Zagara got back in time. You guys burned down the Immortal, and everybody's at pretty full health. This is what I don't want to see. Why go up there? Come down with your team. Push with it. Push with it, Zagara. Okay, hopefully she stays up here. And where are you guys going? Okay, you guys are all tapping and then going back. That's fine. Zagara needs to back up. Sylvanas, this is when you need to be aware of the other team's ults. Sylvanas has mind control. If she grabs Zagara, it'll really do a number on you guys. So Zagara needs to back up. Tyrael needs to back up. Just wait. Patience is a virtue. Just wait for your team. Look, what did I say? What did I just say? That's exactly why. However, if she gets out alive, which would be very surprising, that would be a misplay on their end, because once she was mind controlled, Greymane should have gone full ham and wolf mode on Zagara, and she would be dead. If Fresh Prince had the ulti on the W, she would be dead. But if Zagara gets live, she accidentally just baited out 2 ultimates for nothing. She would have accidentally done you guys a huge favor. And she did. So, as a team, this is too scattered. The healer can only reach so far. Ideally, you guys want to be sort of near the Immortal to where Lily can help everybody out. But you're doing a nice job, Cudvig, getting in there, helping who needs to get help. And, okay, alright. Nice job of being right where you should be. That was a little bit odd. And when's the cups going to be used? Right? Not yet. Nice job by everybody. And there's Zeratul again. He just picked up Sylv. He's going to get Greymane. Nice use of the cups to keep Lunara from herself. Keeps There you go. That was perfect on the cups. Zeratul was killing their backline. And you kept your Tyrael and your Lunara up with the cups. Really nice game, Cudvig. You played really, really well. Your build for Lily is great. For this game, it was, I think, the perfect... Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle's always awesome. The perfect build for this game. Played really, really well, man. Nicely done. There was even though I didn't pick on your play too much, because to be frank, there really wasn't much to pick on. You played really well. But this game did provide a number of opportunities, and this is 100% correct. Zeratul was the MVP here. And he should get a lot of votes because he destroyed that team. There were a lot of learning moments in this game, even if not on your play in particular, but there were a lot of moments to learn. Sylvanas in particular wasn't pushing with the Immortals. That's her power on the objectives. Always push with the objectives when you're Sylvanas. Our Zagara never seemed to be with the team. Make sure you show up to those objectives on time with as much health and mana as you possibly can. Make sure you check those mini-maps right at the beginning of engagements. Make sure you're saving talents. This is the one small area I think we could do a little bit on, was making sure we're saving the talents for the heroes that we want to use them on. So in this game, that was Shrink Ray on Greymane and the Blinds on Greymane. Overall, I think you did a great job with it, but there's a couple little times in there where it could have been a little bit better. So make sure you're using the abilities on their appropriate targets. I didn't see your W as much, but you want to use your W when it's a healing W on melee characters more often than not, who are going to be in the midst of it and going to get the bounce on the W, that are going to get the healing on the W, that aren't going to retreat with it on them and get no value out of it. So really nice job, Cudvig. I think you did really well in this game. Your cups were all really good times. I think the only really big mistake I saw that you made was getting caught in those rings where you died right in the middle of the game. And that's really easy to do in the midst of a confusion of battle. You know, you're running around and things are going on. You just don't notice that ring is underneath you. You got stunned and murdered and finished you off. Other than that, great game all around. And thanks for providing this replay. I don't feel like I talked about your play much because you were pretty spot on. Your basics were all really good, but the players around you made a lot of decisions that we were able to take a look at and I think hopefully learn from. I really like this replay not for you, but for learning from your teammates and your opponents. And just remember, in MMR Hell, for every Lunara, there's a Sylvanas. And the Lunara actually did clean it up a little bit toward the end of the game. She still chased too much and did some other things. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream. I will be back next Monday at 5:30. I'm going to try to do 2 next week if my schedule allows, because I got so many people sending me replays, which is great. I got such a wonderful response, so I'm going to keep this up. I do have a Chair League game in about an hour at 7:20. If you want to check it out, my Chair League team is going to be casted on Denkstrom's channel. You can find that on the Chair League website or on my backdrop once I go offline. It'll list it there. Be sure to follow me on Twitch and on Twitter. Cudvig, I will send you the YouTube link. I upload all of my streams to YouTube so you can rewatch it whenever you want. Any questions, comments, criticisms, things you like, you don't, please send them to me. I love it when people respond to my streams. Great game, Cudvig. Thanks for the really educational replay. This was a great replay to learn off of. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and don't hesitate to come watch my team Odor battle in our Chair League Division 2 game. Have a great night, guys.